Now, for more on this, we have in studio with us Fahad Masood, international security analyst with extensive aviation experience. And we are going to ask him to take us back to 1965, first of all, 6th of September, just to reprise our audience what really happened with India on that day.
Well, it's a 2-week-long affair that started off on the 1st and finished later on, but 6th and 7th become the crucial dates where the air war had, or the Pakistan Air Force had complete air superiority within the eastern border and with India specifically. So that is where Rafiqui, Younis and Cecil and Middle Court and everybody who was there at that point in time were engaged directly with the enemy aircraft, may it be in an air-to-air or an air-to-ground battle. So we did our bit during that time, and obviously we had our victories that came across with Alam in the event of those 5 aircraft that were shot down over Sargodha. So it's a affair of 2 weeks as we speak.
Right, Fahad, you have been in the cockpit. Also share that experience and what it is to sit there and hit the Indian jets and to send them back. And also, do we still have heroes like, as you mentioned, Rafiqui, I beg your pardon, Cecil and Younis in the Pakistan Air Force right now?
Well, with my own experience, I have some amount of military fighter flying experience since 99. But what I would like to take back is, once again, as an analyst on this whole situation, that the time once this thing was taking place, if we look into the context of things, we were in a domain of both CETO, CENTO, and a lot of other things going across globally. We were within the American bloc at that time. We were willing to go against the Soviet bloc. So that being that, the Air Force at specific of the dates that I've mentioned, 6th and 7th, we were in a state of what the Noor Khan, who was at that time Chief of the Air Staff, referred to as preemption. That was the doctrine that we followed. So looking at that specific timeline, the whole situation was very dynamic. We had determined that the targets that needed to be engaged across the eastern border were practiced, planned and executed well. The experience, if considering that specific time, we have, what do we say, the adrenaline was on the higher side. It was rushing. We were looking for the enemy in the air and on the ground both. So if we look at the complete situation, the scenario, we look at heroes who came across in different timelines within these 2 weeks. And if we look at the present time, it's not too far back, 27th Feb 2019, where we did exactly what we were supposed to do as an Air Force to defend the aerial frontiers of the state. We still have heroes, heroes by the name of, if we go back to, once again, the same timeline, Hassan Siddiqui. He's infamous right now, Wing Commander Noman Ali Khan, same thing. On the other side, we have a lot of Asifs, a lot of Bilals, a lot of other people who are doing well within the complete affair of things. So a lot is happening as we speak.
Right, Fahad, if we watch the history, it is completely understood. India misunderstood and miscalculated the Pakistani response. Now, what lessons were learned from that encounter?
Well, we have, as we call, gone through the stages, starting from where we were at the ab initio stages from 47 till date. We have gradually improved within our tactics, strategy, doctrine, as well as the application of it. Lessons learned from 65 that we had to be ready for an enemy who is greater in number. We have to be excellent at what we do because quality was something that we could work on. Quantity was never on our side. Outgunned 1:5 during 65 was a big number. But rest assured, we really put our heads down and came up with this concept of energy maneuverability. We picked it up from the Americans and evolved it into what we now called as dogfighting. So we did well where we were in 65, but we haven't stopped since then. 27th Feb, as I mentioned, it's a clear example of a continuous evolution at all three fronts, starting from tactical operations to strategy.
Right, Fahad, also tell us, how does the air war affect the outcome of the conflict?
Oh, well, present time frame, everything that is done on ground requires air superiority. You look at the events of 65, same thing. If you go on the international front, go to the Iraq War of 91, without the air superiority available, it wasn't possible that they could fight with relative independence. So the people on ground, the armies on ground as well as on the sea require a good amount of ability to maneuver. So the Air Force in specific in 65 enabled the military forces on ground to have relative freedom of movement. So that is how it is. But we have to continue to evolve, and the doctrines keep changing from of preemption of 65 to ever readiness of 2019, 27th Feb. So we have to be there every time.
Now, talking about the doctrines now, doctrinal implications in contemporary times in regional air war possibilities.
Well, if we look at the onset of aviation or military aviation, we had people like Billy Mitchell, Hugh Trenchard, who came up with the ideas of the bombers will always get through. But the fighter fleet started to grow in gradually, and then came John Warden's five-ring theory that really played a pivotal role in the Gulf War of 65, the Gulf War of 91, pardon me. 65, Noor Khan, one-word doctrine of preemption was what enabled us to do what we did. But where we stand today, contemporarily, there is this very important doctrine of SPOT. SPOT stands for Strategic, Persuasive, Oriented Targeting, where you hit the enemy where it hurts. This specifically goes for a relatively smaller air force in quantum and quantity, but excellence as we speak is one of the hallmarks of the Pakistan Air Force. So we continue to evolve, and this doctrinal implication or improvement is where it starts from the grand strategic to operational to tactical scale as well.
Right. Now, Fahad, lastly, if there's a message you want to send out to Pakistan's enemies, internal and external, obviously, with respect to 6th of September.
Well, first and foremost, we are ready, we are waiting. If you want to test us, you've done it before, call it 65, call it 2019, 27th Feb. We are in the air, no matter where you come from, you call it the eastern or the western front. We are ready, we are able, and we are waiting.
Right, Fahad Masood, international security analyst with extensive aviation experience. Thank you very much for coming here.
Pleasure being here.
And talking to us about 6th of September and the role of Pakistan Air Force. And as he said, the Pakistan Armed Forces are ready and they are waiting and they can take you down. This is all.